reading books with me. So yesterday there was a issue in my mic. Nobody's there. I hope this is clear today. Nobody is there to respond. So I'll start reading. If anyone comes, then I'll ask. Okay. So yesterday we was in 232 page number. Then we'll start from 233. Okay. So the book name is Automic Habit. Let's go. A flow state is the experience of being in the zone and fully immersed in an activity. Scientists have tried to quantify this feeling. They found that to achieve a state of flow, a task must be roughly 4% beyond your current ability. In real life, it's typically not feasible to quantify the difficulty of an action in this way, but the core idea of the Goldilocks rule remains: working on challenges of just manageable difficulty, something on the perimeter of your ability, seems crucial for maintaining motivation. Improvement requires a delicate balance. You need to regularly search for challenges that push you to your edge while continuing to make enough progress to stay motivated. Behaviors need to remain novel in order for them to stay attractive and satisfying. Without variety, we get bored, and boredom is perhaps the greatest villain of the quest for self improvement. How to stay focused when you get bored working on your goals. So, this is another heading: how to stay focused when you get bored working on your goals. Now, we are going to read it. After my baseball career ended, I was looking for a new sport. I joined a weightlifting team, and one day an elite coach visited our gym. Acha, hi, hello. Can you please tell me mic is working or not? Actually, yesterday there was a problem of mic. Can you please tell me that mic is working or not? Just respond yes or no. Am I audible clearly? Okay, thanks. So, um, he had. I joined a weightlifting team, and one day an elite coach visited our gym. He had worked with thousands of athletes during his long career, including a few Olympians. I introduced myself, and we began talking about the process of improvement. What's the difference between the best athletes and everyone else? I asked. What do the really successful people do that most don't? He mentioned the factors you might expect: genetics, luck, talent. But then he said something I wasn't expecting. At some point, it comes down to who can handle the boredom of training every day, during the same lifts over and over. He answered surprised. His answer surprised me because it's different way of thinking. Page number 234. About work ethic. People talk about getting amped up to work on their goals, whether it's business or sports or art. You hear people say things like, it all comes down to passion, or you have to really want it. As a result, many of us get depressed when we lose focus or motivation because we think that successful people have some bottomless reserve of passion. But this coach was saying that really successful people feel the same lack of motivation as everyone else. The difference is that they still find a way to show up despite the feeling of boredom. Mastery requires practice, but the more you practice something, the more boring routine it becomes. So, what this is, I know I'm interrupting in between, but I let's talk about this. So, what this book is basically saying, we think that the successful people are, very motivated all the time, but in real life, this is not the case. Everyone in this world who is like, you can take Elon Musk or the most successful people, Virat Kohli, and everyone else, they also feel the same boredom, but they choose to do it every single day. Like Sunil Chetri, one of his interviews, Sunil Chetri said that everything is, he said almost the same thing. I don't exactly remember what he said, but he Sunil Chetri does, it's the same thing every single day. He was saying wake up every early morning, then goes to gym, eat boiled broccoli every single day. So that's why he's so successful and he's on the top, because he's doing these boring things every single day, right? So get back to reading. Mastery requires practice, but the more you practice something, the more bored and routine it becomes. Gains have been once the beginner gains have been made and we learn what to expect, our interest starts to fade. Sometimes it happens even faster than that. All you have to do is hit the gym a few days in a row or publish a couple of blog posts on time, and letting one day slip doesn't feel like much. Things are going well. It's easy to rationalize taking a day off because you are in a good place. The greatest threat to success is not failure but boredom. We get bored with habits because they stop delighting us. The outcome becomes expected, and as our habits become ordinary, we start derailing our progress to seek novelty. Perhaps this is why we get caught up in a never ending cycle, jumping from one workout to the next, one diet to the next, one business idea to the next. As soon as we experience the slightest dip in motivation, we begin seeking a new strategy, even if the old one was still working. As Machiavelli noted, men desire novelty to such an extent that those who are doing well wish for a change as much as those who are doing badly. Okay. Perhaps this is why many of the most habit forming products are those that provide continuous forms of novelty. Video games provide visual novelty, porn provides sexual novelty, junk foods provide culinary novelty. Each of these culinary novelty, sorry, each of these experiences offer continual elements of surprise. In psychology, this is known as a variable reward. Slot machines are the most common real world example. A gambler hits the jackpot every now and then, but not at any predictable interval. The pace of rewards varies. These variants lead to the greatest spike of dopamine, enhances memory recall, and accelerates habit formation. Variable rewards won't create a craving. this is, you can't take a reward people are uninterested in, give it to them at a variable interval and hope it will change their mind. There are powerful way to amplify the cravings we already experience because they reduce boredom. The sweet spot of desire occurs The sweet spot of desire occurs at 50-50 split because success and failure the sweet spot of desire occurs at a 50-50 split because success and failure. Half of the time you get what you want, half of the time you don't. You need just enough winning to experience satisfaction and just enough wanting to experience desire. This is one of the benefits of the following the Goldilocks rule. If you're already interested in a habit, working on challenges of just manageable difficulty is a good way to keep things interesting. Of course, not all habits have a variable reward component, and you wouldn't want them to. If Google only delivered a useful search result, some of the time, I would switch to a competitor pretty quickly. If Uber only picked up half of my trips, I doubt I'd be using that service much longer. And if I flossed my teeth each night and only sometimes ended up with a clean mouth, I think I'd skip it. Variables rewards or not, no habit will stay interesting forever. At some point, everyone faces the same challenge of on the journey of self-improvement. You have to fall in love with boredom. We all have goals that we would like to achieve and dreams that we 236 page number dreams that we would like to fulfill, but it doesn't matter what you are trying to become better at. If you only do the work when it's convenient or exciting, then you will never be consistent enough to achieve remarkable results. I guarantee that if you manage to start a habit and keep sticking to it, there will be days when you feel like quitting. When you start a business, there will be days when you don't feel like showing up. When you are at the gym, there will be sets that you don't feel like finishing. When it's time to write, there will be days that you don't feel like typing. But stepping up when it's annoying or painful or draining to do so, that's what makes the difference between a professional and an amateur. Professionals stick to the schedule, amateurs let life get in the way. Professionals know what is important to them and work toward it with purpose. Amateurs get pulled off course by the urgencies of life. David Kane, an author and encourages meditation teachers encourages his students to avoid being fair weather meditators. Similarly, you don't want to be a fair weather athlete or a fair weather writer or a fair weather anything. When a habit is truly important to you, you have to be willing to stick to it in any mood. Professionals take action even when the mood isn't right. They might not enjoy it, but they find a way to put the reps in. There have been a lot of sets that I haven't felt like finishing, but I've never regretted doing the workout. There have been a lot of articles I haven't felt like writing, but I never regretted publishing on schedule. There have been a lot of days I felt like relaxing, but I've never regretted showing up and working on something that was important to me. The only way to become excellent is to be endlessly fascinated by doing the same thing over and over. You have to fall in love with boredom. So that's it for the chapter. Now, page number 237, and it's chapter summary. The Goldilocks point number one, the Goldilocks rule states that human experiences peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Number two, the greatest threat to success is not failure but boredom. Number three, as habits become routine, they become less interesting and less satisfying. We get bored. Anyone can work hard when they feel motivated. It's the ability to keep going when work isn't exciting that makes the difference. Last, professionals stick to the schedule. Amateur left let life get in the way. So what we have understood in the chapter, what I understood is that whatever we will first, it says that when you do something which is little bit more difficult than your abilities, then you feel that you feel motivated, but later when you do it for a certain period of time, you feel bored, you start feeling bored. But if you want to be successful, you have to fall in love with boredom, because boredom is what we have to face if we stick to a habit, because after a certain point of time it will not be interesting, and we have to face the boredom to become better in that habit. Yeah. So the successful people, they, whenever even they're bored, they still do it no matter what they're feeling. So we are done with 237. Now it's page number 239. Let's go. The downside of creating good habits. This is chapter number 20. Chapter number 20, the downside of good habits. Okay. Habits create the foundation for mastery. In chess, it is only after the basic movement of the pieces have become automatic that a player can focus on the next level of the game. Each chunk of information that is memorized opens up the mental space for more effortful thinking. This is true for any endeavor. When you know the simple movements so well that you can perform them without thinking, you are free to pay attention to more advanced details. In this way, habits are the chief backbones in any pursuit of excellence. However, the benefits of habits come at a cost. At first, each repetition develops fluency, speed, and skill, but then a habit becomes automatic. You become less sensitive to feedback. You fall into mindless repetition. It becomes easier to let mistakes slide. When you can do when you can do it good enough on autopilot, you stop thinking about how to do it better. The upside of habits is that we can do things without thinking. The downside of habits is that you get used to doing things a certain way and stop paying attention to little errors. You assume you are getting better because you are gaining experience. In reality, you are merely page number 240. You are merely reinforcing your current habit, not improving them. In fact, some research has shown that once a skill has been mastered, there is usually a slight decline in performance over time. Usually, this minor dip in performance is no cause for worry. You don't need a system to continuously improve how well you brush your teeth or tie your shoes or make your morning cup of tea. With habits like these, good enough is usually good enough. Hi Kansha, actually I wanted to say this. If you are watching this, then I want you to open your book and start reading with me. You can reduce the volume so that you will not be able to listen my voice and you will be able to focus on your reading. So yeah, you can do that. And I'll ask everyone else, if you guys want to read any book, then you can do it with me. Just reduce the volume so that I will not bother you and you can read as well. So reinforcing your current habits, not improving them. In fact, some research has shown that once a skill has been mastered, there is usually a slight decline in performance over time. Usually, this minor dip in performance is no cause for worry. You don't need a system to continuously improve. How well you brush your teeth, or tie your shoes, or make your morning cup of tea with habits like these, good enough is usually good enough. The less energy you spend on trivial choices, the more you can spend it on what really matters. However, when you want to maximize your potential and achieve elite levels of performance, you need a more nuanced approach. You can't repeat the same things blindly and expect to become exceptional. Habits are necessary but not sufficient for mastery. What you need is a combination of atomic habits and deliberate practice. Habits plus deliberate practice equal to mastery. To become great, certain skills do need to become automatic. Basketball players need to be able to dribble without thinking before they can move on to the mastering layups with their non dominant hand. Surgeons need to repeat the first incision so many times that they could do it with their eyes closed, so that they can focus on the hundreds of variables that arise during surgery. But after one habit has been mastered, you have to return to the effortful part of the work and begin building the next habit. Mastery is the process of narrowing your focus to a tiny element of success, repeating it until you have internalized the skill, and then using this new habit to advance as a foundation to advance to the next frontier of your development. Once task become easier the second time around, but it doesn't get easier overall because you're not pouring your energy into the next challenge. Each habit unlocks the next level of performance. It's an endless cycle. Right now, I was giving mock test. Okay, okay. No worries. So, 241. Although habits are powerful, what you need is a way to remain conscious of your performance over time so you can continue to. Page number 42, guys. This is the last. 10 pages are over if I read this. Refine and improve. It is precisely at the moment when you begin to feel like you have mastered a skill, right when things are starting to feel automatic and you are becoming comfortable, that you must avoid slipping into the trap of complacency. The solution: establish a system for reflection and review. How to review your habits and make adjustments. In in 1986, The Los Angeles Lakers had one of the most talented basketball teams over assembled, but they are rarely remembered that way. The team started the 1985 to 1986 NBA session with an astounding 29 to 5 record. The pundits were saying that we might be the best team in the history of basketball. Head coach Pat Riley said after the lesson, surprisingly, the Lakers stumbled in 1986 playoffs and suffered a season ending defeat in the Western Conference Finals. The best team in the history of basketball didn't even play for the NBA championship. After that blow, Riley was tired of hearing about how much talent his players had and about how much promise his team held. He didn't want to see flashes of brilliance followed by a gradual fade in performance. He wanted the Lakers to play up to their potential. Night after night in the summer 1986, he created a plan to do exactly that. A system that he called the Career Best Effort Program or CBE. When players first joined the Lakers, Riley explained, we track their basketball statistics all the way back to high school. I call this taking their number. We look for an accurate gauge of what a player can do, then build him into a plan for the team based on the notion that he will maintain and then improve upon his averages. After determining a player's baseline level of performance, Relay to added a key step. He asked each player to improve their output by at least 1% over the course of the season. If they succeeded, it would be a CBE or career best effort, similar to the British cycling team that we discussed in chapter 1. The Lakers sought peak performance by getting slightly better each day. Relay was careful to point out that CBE was not merely about points or statistics, but about giving your best effort spiritually, mentally, and physically. Players got credit for allowing an opponent to run into you when you know that a foul will be called against him. Diving for loose balls, going after rebounds, whether you are likely to get them or not. Helping a teammate when the player he guarding has surged past him, and other unsung hero deeds. As an example, let's say that Magic Johnson, the Lakers' star player at the time, had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, and 5 turnovers in a game. Magic also got credit for an unsung hero did by diving after a loose ball. Finally, he played of total 30 minutes in this imaginary game. The positive numbers 11, 8, 12, 2, 1 add up to 34. Then we subtract the 5 turnovers, 35 minus 4, to get 29. Finally, we divide 29 by 33 played minute. 29 divided by 33 equal to 0.879. Magic CBE number here would be 879. This number was calculated for all of a player's game, and it was the average CBE that a player was asked to improve by 1% over the season. Relay compared each player's current CBE to not only their past performances but also those of other players in the league. As Relay put it, we rank team numbers alongside league opponents who play the same position and have similar role definitions. Sports writer Jackie McCullen noted Relay triumphed the top performances in the league in bold lettering of the blackboard each week. So this is page number 243. We have completed 11 pages. Let's do it tomorrow. And I want you guys to, if you that's a request, okay? If you guys have a reading habit, if you guys want to develop a reading habit, so you can join with me, because I am also trying to develop a reading habit. I'm not a regular reader. I wanted to read this book for so long, and I've did so many things that finally this is working. This is, I think, my 6-7 day of reading a book, but I'm recording from 3 days now. And I want you to join in this live. If you are watching this, tomorrow we will do this again, and I want you to join with me, and you will read your book, I will read my book, or you can listen to me while I'm reading. So yeah, that's it for today. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye.